More details have now emerged on the identity of the Dublin stabber, the man who went on the rampage on Sunday, indiscriminately slashing members of the public. Could have been fatalities there. Thankfully, no one died, but he was apprehended. He was brought into custody, and today his identity has been revealed. And listen to this. A statement was given. I was afraid to die. I was afraid to die. That statement did not come from one of the victims of the stabbings. No, that statement came from the stabber himself. Can you believe the brass neck on this? And not just this guy, but there was another stabbing incident in Cork the following day. And yesterday, last night, in a meeting with Dublin City Council, the lack of concern and action concerning the crime in Dublin was breathtaking. So we're going to look at some details on that very briefly here today. So let's kick it off with this stabber. Who is he? Where's he from? So he's been named. I was afraid to be killed. A man charged over Stoneybatter stabbings told the Gardaí. This is the stabber said this, by the way, not one of the victims. Gabriel Ferreira Mota Valdares, aged 29, of Broadstone Avenue in Dublin, appeared before a sitting of Dublin's District Court. A man charged in connection, he's told the court he was afraid to be killed. Give me a break. Gabriel Valadares of Broadstone Avenue appeared on 4 charges. The accused, who was visibly crying in court, he was crying, was charged with possession of a box cutter knife at Murta Road, possession of scissors on Manor Place, and 2 charges of assault causing harm to 2 named individuals on Sunday, February the 9th. The alleged assault incidents occurred on Oxmanstown Road and Nile Street. The accused had his head in his hands and was heard speaking to himself at numerous points during the short hearing. So he was crying in court, he was muttering to himself, he held his head in his hands, and he told the police, or the Gardaí, that he was afraid to be killed. He was afraid to be killed. So it's also emerged that I did a report on this on Sunday, on Monday, when further details had emerged, and O'Callaghan had came out to say, I think he might have had some interaction with the guards previously. Well, he has. He came to Ireland, I believe it was, in 2022, and he's been involved with drugs offences. He's been out on bail, and he's committed this stabbing. So, like I said, at the weekend and today, this is at best gross incompetence and neglect from the government, and at worst, some kind of a cover-up. Why not just come straight out and tell the facts? Callaghan knew the facts. He would have been briefed before he made that statement. He knew damn rightly that this person had previous history with the police and with the guards. He knew he had previous offences, and he knew he was in this country when he shouldn't have been. I'll get back to that in a second. This is just to touch on another story, another stabbing that happened yesterday in Cork. A man arrested after a woman stabbed at a house in Cork City. The suspected attacker was found during a search operation near Evergreen Road area and taken into custody. So after he committed the crime, then he went into the public. He took himself off to the streets of Cork before he was finally apprehended. More people could have been stabbed as a result of that. Thank God they weren't. The man, a Romanian national, on Monday was being detained under Section 4 of the Criminal Justice Act, which allows Gardaí to hold suspects for up to 24 hours before they are either charged or released. So allegedly and all that business, but man arrested, woman stabbed, taken into custody, Romanian national held under Section 4 of the Criminal Justice Act. So it's difficult to keep up with all these knifing incidents that are happening in Ireland at the minute, and the press are very slow to release details of who the perpetrators are. In some cases, we find out straight away. In other cases, we have to wait a day, 2 days, 3 days before our suspicions are either confirmed or denied. Now, last night, and this is a disgrace, and this is a damning statement on Dublin City Council. There was a meeting held last night. Dublin City Council, and this article is taken from Gripped Media, so I'm just reading out what they've written. Dublin City Council refuses to debate crime crisis in the wake of Stoneybatter stabbings. So bear in mind that this stabbings only happened on Sunday. It's Tuesday. This was last night. So this is all in a very short window of time. Last night's meeting of the council saw two independent councillors, Malachy Steenson and Gavin Pepper, leave the chamber in protest after the Mayor, Fine Gael councillor Emma Blaine, ruled their proposal to debate the crime crisis in the city as a topical issue would not be taken. If there was a time to debate this, it would have been last night, immediately after that stabbing. And there were other violent incidents that happened in Dublin over the weekend too, and have been happening in Dublin for a very, very long time. The situation there is getting worse. It's not getting better. So if any time was a good time to have this debate, it would have been last night at Dublin City Council meeting. After the proposal was voted down, Steenson interrupted proceedings to describe the actions of his fellow councillors as a disgrace and the councillors' meeting as a farce. Well, who could argue with Malachy Steenson's comments in both cases? His fellow councillors are a disgrace and the meeting is a farce. What are they talking about? If they're not going to talk about the events that happened over the weekend on their own doorstep, then what can they talk about? What's more important than securing the streets of Dublin and securing the residents of those areas? Anything more important, more pressing to talk about? Well, let's find out. His fellow councillor Gavin Pepper stood up with Steenson, saying the vote against the motion was a joke, and both independents left the Dublin City Council chamber. Councillors Steenson and Pepper had tabled the motion last night following the stabbings carried out in Stoneybatter, Ockram Street area of the North City on Sunday afternoon. The culprit who was arrested appears to be a Brazilian national. Well, he is. That has now been confirmed, who had come to the attention of the Gardaí previously. Bizarrely, the Journal felt impelled to do a fact check yesterday because racist social media users and fake news outlets had pounced on the reports to spread unfounded claims before full details emerged. No, we didn't. At least I didn't. I was taking it as I found it. I was updating day by day as facts were presented. Facts were presented. The majority of Dublin City councillors appear to have opposed the proposal from Steenson and Pepper, but were clearly not only supportive of the Mayor, who wanted to shut this down, but they were downright happy to show that support. A strange reason for mirth, perhaps, but there you go. So that's what Gript are saying about that. Mayor Blaine told Councillor Steenson and Pepper in her best Pembroke tones to close the door behind you, to spontaneous applause and guffawing from many of those, particularly among the far left and Sinn Féin members who remain. If there's a danger in Ireland at the minute, if there's any danger in Ireland, it does not come from the so-called far right. It comes solely and squarely from the far left. Weasels, rats, the lot of them, a treacherous bunch. The two councillors spoke to camera following the departure and outlined the reasons for leaving. So Steenson spoke and said 46 councillors of 58 who cast a vote who denied their motion. He claimed that it was because they were terrified of the truth getting out and were determined to hide the links between migration and serious crime. Again, I've said it once, I'll say it again. The truth can withhold scrutiny, lies cannot. If you have nothing to hide, you will stand up to questioning. If you have got something to hide, you will run for questioning, or you will dodge the questioning, or you will vote to have questioning suppressed, which is what has happened in this case. Steenson said the message sent by the majority of the council was, we don't care about the victims in this country. Well, again, who could argue with that? Who could argue with what he said? Happy in the knowledge that the council proceedings would not have its buzz wrecked by the intrusion of Steenson and Pepper, Mayor Blaine received particular commendation from a beaming Sinn Féin councillor, Dachi Doolan, who assured her that she had done a good job already. There you go, Sinn Féin nailing their colours to the treacherous mast. Good to see that this stout fellow has picked himself up after his failure to be elected to the Senate last week. Humiliating not for the reason that he lost, but for the reason that his own party ignored the fact that Doolan had been nominated by the Irish Congress of Trade Unions and decided to back another nominee instead. So a sorry state of affairs for many, many reasons. Number one, maniacs are roaming the streets of Ireland, north, south, east and west, committing crimes. They shouldn't be here in the first place. They're either homeless, they're undocumented, they're running around, no one knows who they are. That's a fact. It's a fact. This man was, in Dublin's case, was a Brazilian with a previous history, known to the guards, had committed drug offences and was still in the country. Why? What's he contributing to society? Is that being racist or far right? No, it doesn't matter what skin colour he has. It doesn't matter what country he's from, for that matter. He could have been a white Welshman. He shouldn't be here. It's not because he was a Brazilian national. We're not xenophobic. We just want safe streets. We want justice to be done. Want the government to do what they're supposed to do, which is to take care of their own people. And they're not. They're failing miserably. So the first thing we learn is that people like that are running amok. We had the other stabbing in Cork. There were other incidents over the weekend as well. And silence, or at least dribbles of information coming out from the so-called mainstream or legacy media, soon to be defunct media, with little bits and pieces of facts coming out long after the event. So also worth noting, Dublin City Council, respect to Malachy, Steenson and Gavin for standing up in there and calling a spade and calling for a debate to be taken and tabled that would protect the people of Dublin. That was rejected by the Mayor of Dublin and by various leering councillors within that also. So more information coming out. I still don't think we're going to hear the end of this one. This Brazilian stabber is putting himself up to be the victim, crying in court, holding his head in his hands, rocking backwards and forwards, talking to himself, saying that he feared that he would be killed. Really? That's the state of play as per now. If you like the content here, share it, cut and paste it, drop it into Facebook groups, drop it into WhatsApp groups, drop it into whatever you can. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. A lot of people watching the channel and the numbers are growing. The numbers are growing, thank God. Subscribers are growing too, but we need more people to subscribe and we need more people to push the content out. If you like it, that is. Give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments below. For now, I'm Rick Munn, No Risk, No Reward Media, over and out.